All right, welcome back. Appreciate you tuning in today. We're recording this on May 22nd, around just before 4 p.m., but we're going to post this a little bit later, probably tomorrow morning. So we're going to be heading over from CYOO up in Canada, just outside of Toronto, and we're going to be flying over or at least one of the Great Lakes. That's Lake Ontario here in between Hamilton and Rochester, and Buffalo sits like right around there, Niagara Falls. But we're going to be heading over to Ohio today, over at KHZY Ashtabula County, I guess. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but we're going to get there. And let's see. So we are looking at how long here? Does it say how many miles this is? No, it does not. Okay, but we'll figure that part out. Nonetheless, we're going to get this thing on the ground, I think. So KHZY is going to be a passenger flight here. This is a VIP mission, so we're going to go ahead and accept that. Snoop and Hurricane are both landed, so maybe when we get up in the air, we'll find a flight for them. But we're going to get this thing going now. And NeoFly should kick in.
Hello, Captain. Nice to see you again. Captain, this is dispatch. The VIPs do not look too happy today. It's probably best if we don't keep them waiting. Transporter, boarding has started. Transporter from dispatch. All passengers on board. You can ask for the clearance to take off.
Alright, I think we already got clearance to take off.
Taxi to the runway and take off.
There we go. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing up in the air. We're going to get rid of our flaps as we're going here.
Pilot, have a smooth flight, if you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. We're going to go ahead and bank here. We got positive climb, so we're going to lift up the landing gear. Or reduce the throttle a whole bunch so that we don't max out on our speedometer here and freak everybody out. Alright, we're going to turn around here towards Lake Ontario. And then the first thing that we're going to do here is get our altitude up a little bit. And we'll adjust our header there. We'll turn on autopilot. That and that. Alright. So we should be leveling out here. And then we'll contact ATC.
Center, Cessna November 11361 is type Cessna C-25C, 3 miles southwest of Oshawa, 2,000 feet. Request flight following.
Cessna November 11361, Center. Squawk 4247.
Squawk 4247, Cessna Tree 61.
Cessna Tree 61. Radar contact 4 miles southwest of Oshawa, 2,400 feet. Altimeter 299er2.
Roger, Cessna Tree 61.
Cessna Tree 61, contact Toronto approach on 132.8. Good day. o'clock for miles at 2,600 feet, Cessna C-25C. Report them in sight.
132.8, Cessna Tree 61. Toronto approach, Cessna November 11 Tree 61, 2,800 feet.
Cessna November 11 Tree 61. Toronto approach. Altimeter 29902. Radar contact continue.
Alright, good to go there with ATC. And 2992 is about 1013 on the altimeter, so we're going to go ahead and leave that as is. And we should be good to go here. We're just going to get a little more straightened up here on our flight path. And yeah, we're still steadily climbing up to 47. We can probably reduce that.
61 contact approach on 1 tree 3.4. Good day.
Altitude down to about 4,000.
Going to 1 tree 3.4, Cessna Tree 61.
Altitude.
Approach, Cessna November 11 Tree 61, 3,600 feet.
Cessna November 11 Tree 61. Approach. Altimeter 29902. Radar contact continue.
Alright, so we should be good to go there. We're going to increase our view over the dashboard just a notch. We'll take a thumbnail here. I think that one looks good. We're only at 51% on the throttles. And we seem to be dragging on the speed a little bit, so we're going to increase that a little bit. Let's try to go up to about 70% and see what that takes us. Yeah, landing gear is up. Flaps are up. Should be going a little bit faster. It must be a hefty wind. Alright, and then we're gonna go here, and we're in nav maps here, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull up our sim brief real quick. So we're going to KHZY. And we'll do destination here. And I think we're landing in runway 27, I believe. So we'll set that. Let's see what that looks like. Alright, not too bad. And basically, if we set a measurement down to the top of our descent, that would be 215. So we can actually adjust our header here to 215. There we have it. We'll go a little more over Lake Ontario here, and then Lake Erie we're going to be going over as well. So just on the other side of this, we're going to come up to basically Niagara Falls area. What is that? Hamilton, Niagara Falls, St. Catharines area. And then we're going to be flying over Lake Erie. Not too bad at all there. So looking at our nav map here, so I basically let's get rid of this line and also this line. So I drew a path here down to the top of our descent here. So we're going to be flying just outside of Cleveland here, over in between Cleveland and Erie, New York. Cleveland, Ohio, and Erie, New York. So I'm guessing the, or Erie, Pennsylvania, I'm sorry. So this is Pennsylvania and Ohio border. So we're actually going to be landing in Ohio, but we're going to be starting our descent here in Pennsylvania. So yeah, Canada, Toronto, Hamilton, over to Erie, Pennsylvania. We may even clip New York, I'm not sure. Yeah, so that's the flight plan that we're looking at here. We are looking at 130 miles to our destination, and we should be good to go. Alright, and pulling up our NeoFly account here, we got 9.8 million, almost 9.9. And we'll pull up our flight here. There are 51% or 57%. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and serve some drinks, try to get that up, and get our 5 passengers that we have here all happy and whatnot. So everything should be hunky-dory there. Oh, and then the other thing we were gonna do was, let's go ahead and look at, this is Hurricane. We're gonna add a little bit of fuel, spend a little bit of money. We'll look at Snoop, same concept, they need some fuel as well. And then we're gonna go see if we can find a mission for them and get them earning some money. Let's see what they got here. 69,000. We'll go ahead and do that one for her. And then they're in the TB 930 or TBM 930, and then the Cessna CJ4 rental for Snoop. We were looking at, let's go ahead and do that one and then get them up in the air. So now they are going, they're onboarding and embarking with an estimated time frame of about an hour and 15-20 minutes, somewhere around there. Alright, told our friend in Belgium that we are recording and heading over to Ohio next. So here we are, Lake Ontario, in the corporate jet here, Cessna Citation CJ4. Oh, I guess we can undo our passenger seatbelt and safety, and everybody can roam around the cabin at their leisure. And this is a little shorter flight than the last one. Last one sat at about 201 nautical miles. This one is 176 nautical miles. And if you look at our NeoFly Career here, So for a total distance, 18,040 miles is what we traveled so far, and 170 flights in total. So not too bad. This one we kind of stopped calculating, so we can probably get rid of that. Oh, and we are missing a few of these, so we got to adjust some of those. So we actually did a little more than that. For the most part, I think we're looking good.
61 contact Toronto approach on 132.8. Good day.
We'll look up a few of those.
132.8 for Cessna Tree 61.
All right. So as we depart from Canada, we're going to be heading over into U.S. territory soon. We're going to switch radios here.
Toronto approach, Cessna November 11361 for 1,000 feet.
Cessna November 11361. Toronto approach. Altimeter 29902. Radar contact continue. Cessna Tree 61 contact approach on 126.5. Good day.
126.5, Cessna Tree 61. Approach, Cessna November 11361 for 1,000 feet. Cessna November 11361, approach, altimeter 29902, radar contact continue.
And then we got Lake Erie over there in the distance. Actually, yeah, I guess we're still in Canada, so we're not not out of the Canadian territory just yet. We got to fly over this piece of land and then get halfway through Lake Ontario or Lake Erie to get back into U.S. territory. Looking at our nav map here, so when we originally flew up into Canada over Lake Ontario, we were sort of in between Rochester and Buffalo. So this white line here is the U.S.-Canadian border right through the middle of the lake, but it looks like it kind of jets back down here towards Buffalo, New York, and this still remains Canada here. So we're basically hugging that border line here, so we won't cross over the border into the United States until we get halfway through Lake Erie this time. Alright, so let's see. This is going to be episode number 80. I feel like I'm going to scoot all the way back up here. There we go. Let's grab this one. So, episode 80. And we're going to be departing from Canada at the Oshawa Executive Airport. And we're going to be going to, let's go to this flight. This is the Northeast Ohio Regional Airport. And that is going to be Ashtabula, I don't know how you pronounce that, Ohio. All right, and we're looking at about $9.8 million. And we'll get our description going. And we're going to save our thumbnail that we took and get that going. So very cool. Everything's kind of coming along here. Oh, nice. We already got that. All we got to do is drop in our thumbnail. And we can export that, and we should be good. So there we have it. We got our description ready, I think. Let's go ahead and check on that. Yeah, it seems kind of weird, but I think that'll work. Yeah, should be good to go there. All right, so we are flying back over this little inlet here. Thomas Creek Elementary School apparently has a helipad. Never heard of an elementary school having a helicopter, but I guess there's a first for everything here. So nice cruise speed here, 227, and altitude at about 4,000. Everything is looking good. Here's Lake Erie. We just got to get halfway into that, and then we're going to start our descent. So let's go ahead and get some information on the airport that we're landing at. So Ashtabula, Ohio, elevation sits at 916 feet. Landing in runway 27. The parking and taxiway will be off to the right there.
61 contact Cleveland Center on 125.2.
And the airport, or the runway length is 5,196. So we got plenty of room here. We'll definitely be able to meet that. We're going to move that. Talk to ATC here, acknowledge the handoff.
Going to 125.2, Cessna Tree 61. Cleveland Center, Cessna November 11361 for 1,000 feet. Cessna November 11361. Cleveland Center, altimeter 29902. Radar contact continue.
Alright, so we're looking good there. We're going to be looking at about like 2,400 feet.
Altitude. Altitude.
That'll be a good approach altitude. So we'll get that ready for when we get a little closer to land here. Oh, I don't have my phone with me. I was going to shoot somebody a text message and I left it in the living room, I think.
contact Toronto Center on 128.275. Good day.
Let's go ahead and contact the handoff.
128.275. Cessna Tree 61. Toronto Center. Cessna November 11 Tree 61 for 1,000 feet. Cessna November 11 Tree 61. Toronto Center. Altimeter 299er2. Radar contact continue.
Kind of surprised that we're actually contacting Toronto. We should be on Cleveland. Alright, but we are going to be crossing the border here pretty soon. Got Long Point National Wildlife Area off to our right. There you go. Is that it? That's the Long Point Lighthouse. Alright, and looking at the map, I think we can adjust our heading here just a couple of clicks to the right.
Toronto Center, Endeavour 5465, flight level 290.
That's not us.
Endeavour 5465, Toronto Center, radar contact continue.
5465. So try to look for him in the air here. I'm looking at our map here. I think that line right here is the Canadian border.
Cessna Tree 61, contact Cleveland Center on 132.4. Good day.
Alright, let's go ahead and contact Cleveland.
132.4, Cessna Tree 61. Cleveland Center, Cessna November 11361 for 1,000 feet. Altimeter 299er2, radar contact continue. Cessna Tree 61, contact approach on 121.0. Good day. 121.0 for Cessna Tree 61. Approach Cessna November 11361 for 1,000 feet. Cessna November 11361, approach altimeter 299er2, radar contact continue.
I think we're a little further away from the airport for it to show up on here, but we'll just double check anyway. Not quite. Probably got a couple more minutes here. Alright, I think we can start our descent now. So what we're going to do is go ahead and turn on our passenger seatbelt signs and safety lights. And we're going to go ahead and start our descent. Do a nice smooth descent here. So starting out at about 4,000 feet, we're going to drop down to 2,400.
Altitude.
We'll level on off here. Alright, we are now officially 30 nautical miles out. KHZY. Oh, there it is. We'll tune to traffic. We get to select the runway. So we're going to select runway 27. We're going to announce a full stop landing. And our position.
Kilo Hotel Zulu Yankee traffic. Cessna November 11361. 27 miles northeast. 2,400 feet. Inbound to land. Runway 27. Kilo Hotel
Perfect. Wind sits at about 2 knots. Do a slight adjustment there to the left. So again, the runway sat at about 916 feet above sea level. And we're sitting at 1400, so, or 2400. So that puts us at about 1500 feet above the runway. Probably even just go a little bit more. Drop down to 2200 feet. We are currently in Pennsylvania at this time, but we are, once we make this right-hand turn and announce our final, we're going to be crossing over the border into Ohio. Here's our map here that I'm looking at on the other screen. So we're coming down here. I'm going to adjust our heading just a little bit more to the left. And this is the borderline right here for Pennsylvania and Ohio. And we're going to be crossing over right here by the State Game Lands 101. And that'll put us at about 8 miles out from the runway. And let's go ahead and zoom in on the airport. So once again, once we land on runway 27 over here, we're going to probably take this taxiway and head on over to this parking area right here, Northeast Ohio Regional Airport. And that is NeoFly. They are sitting at 100%. Camille just finished the drink distribution, so everybody should be looking good. Seatbelts fastened and ready to land here. So once again, everybody, I appreciate you tuning in. We're officially passing Cherry Hill. Speed's at 210, so actually what we're going to do is we're going to reduce our throttle down here, try to get this down to like 200. Once we do that, we're going to extend our landing gear and deploy 15 degrees of flaps. Alright, landing gear down. Looking for the green lights here. Go 15 degrees of flaps. Trim will probably climb. We're going to increase our throttle. Try to keep that low. Don't want to go above like 15 or 18% percent. That's looking good. Go ahead and start our turn a little bit. We got all 3 green lights on the landing gear. Perfect. That's probably our airport right here. Gonna do a nice slow turn to the right. Get lined up with the runway. We are currently sitting at 9.6 nautical miles out. Go ahead and drop our elevation a little bit more. We're going to finish our turn. That is our airport there. Runway sits about right there. .6 nautical miles out. Runway 27 should sit at about heading 270, give or take. Trim is super high right now, so we got to increase our speed a little bit. Alright, that's looking good. We're going to go ahead and turn autopilot off. Take full control. We're actually going to go 35 degrees of flaps. And then we stabilize. Weather's looking good. Landing into about 2 knots of wind. See if we can get a nice smooth landing here over in Ohio. Doesn't look like we got too much tree interference here on the threshold, so that looks good. Looks like we got 1 green light. Two green light, maybe 3. Speed looks good at 120. .123. There's 3 green lights. Crossing over, flaring up, cutting throttle.
That was a harder landing than we like to see, pilot.
Alright, touchdown.
Transporter from dispatch. Clear the runway and taxi to parking.
So we will go ahead and exit our taxiway, or exit the runway here over to taxi A. We'll go ahead and stop for a second, see if we can talk to ground here. We're going to announce our taxi to parking.
Kilo Hotel Zulu Yankee traffic. Cessna November 11361 is taxiing to parking. Kilo Hotel Zulu Yankee traffic.
Alright, well, we'll just follow this bus up here. We'll go ahead and park by these guys. They still want me to go up. Alright, there you go. It's as comfortable as I want to get there. So, we'll go ahead and shut down our engines.
Transporter. Disembarkation in progress. Stand by.
Alright, so once again, everybody, I hope you enjoyed our flight here over to Ohio. We're going to probably head down to probably the central part of the United States here and see what we can do for finding some new flights. So, appreciate you tuning in. Hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day, and I will see you on the next one.
Transporter. All the passengers have disembarked. Good job. See you soon.